Now you're an application scientist with Reveal Biosciences, and obviously, application scientist can mean a lot of different things depending on the company and product or service that you're involved with. So, can you elaborate a little bit on what is it that you're doing at Reveal Biosciences now?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because when I tell you what I really do, you're going to think like, that's crazy. So Reveal Biosciences is a relatively small biotech startup company. We've been around since 2012, and there's about 35 employees now. So not a huge company, but also not a fresh startup company, which is such a great environment. I really love the biotech kind of startup vibe. And we're very well established in San Diego and all over the company. But what I do as an application scientist, I'm the only application scientist within the company. And I work with pretty much all of the teams. I work with the executive leaders to come up with ideas for how to implement certain products. I work with the commercial team and marketing to help with scientific materials like brochures and our website. And I work with the lab team mostly to manage projects within our pipeline. And I mostly also work with clients. So I'm pretty much the main client-facing contact, that when we get an inquiry or someone wants to come and do a study with us, I'm the one that will design the study. I will work with the clients to figure out what their study goals are, and I'll put together the project for them, plan out the pricing for them, and then work with them to kind of get the study started. And then I'll run it through our lab team, see it through our whole pipeline, and work on their reports at the end. And so I pretty much see
the list goes on.
Beginning to end. I do a lot.
Yeah,
So a little bit of everything. I wear a lot of different hats, and it's really awesome though. I write articles for the website. I made a poster. We were supposed to present at AACR this year. So I did a poster for that. And so I still get, some of that academic work in, which is fun.
Yeah, as a science communicator myself, I want to say I'm definitely jealous of what you're doing. That sounds like an awesome job.
I have to say I am enjoying it a lot. So
fantastic.
Don't worry, there is a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes, yeah, because science communication is something that we obviously as PhDs have some training in, and some of us even have passion in doing that. And definitely when I get to hear someone like you, which exactly does. So in terms of the application scientist position that you have, you said you're basically the first and only application scientist in the company. So how does that make you feel in terms of the learning curve, or the big shoes that you need to fill, or these big the top brass that you need to satisfy, and like what's going on through your like fresh out of PhD program right into this type of big boys game or something like that? Like, is it challenging? How did you really adjust to just changing your mindset and things like that?
It was definitely scary at first, because I had no industry experience. I was being hired. I didn't do a postdoc. I was being hired. Obviously they knew that, and I was worried about what kind of expectations they would have. But in the beginning, everyone that I worked with was so helpful and just very understanding that, I literally just got my PhD a couple months ago. They just needed someone to help in these areas, and anything that I could do would be helpful. Mm-hmm. And I kind of got thrown into it. So I just kind of, a lot of what we do is pathology and histology, and I had a vague understanding of a lot of those methods, but I was just kind of thrown into it where after a couple weeks I needed to know everything that we did. Mm-hmm. And that was kind of the best way to learn, really. It was something that was all very interesting to me, and so I was able to kind of pick it up really well. And there was definitely a steep learning curve, but everyone was very understanding. Mm-hmm. Of who I was and my experience, and really appreciated what I brought to the table, nonetheless. So yeah. It was kind of scary starting your first job out of your PhD, but it was if you find the right job, then
Yeah.
So it
That's
was.
good. Yeah, that's really nice to hear. And going back to our conversation earlier about failures, do you feel like you had some, I guess, missteps or failures along the way in those like first like a month or couple of weeks? And how did you really use your PhD training to overcome that?
Yeah, so I mean, I definitely set high expectations for myself, which I should have known, like I should not do. So anytime I would make a mistake or something, I would kind of, take it in and like internalize it, when really I should just ask for help, and it wasn't a big deal. I would always make a big deal of it in my head, but it really wasn't,
Hmm.
because I could just go to someone and be like, "Hey, I accidentally did this. Can you help me figure it out?" And it wasn't a big deal at the end of the day.
That's good.
So I definitely kind of learned that I still make mistakes to this day every now and then, but I know how to handle them better, because I'm on a team now, which is kind of different coming from your PhD. You're very much independent. Everything's kind of on you. Um, you are responsible for your success, whereas I'm on a team now. It's not just me. If I am struggling with something, or if I'm feeling overwhelmed, I can go to a handful of people, and they will help me, and it's not going to make me look weak,
Hmm.
or make me look like I can't do my job. It's all such a very supportive environment, and that's been the main difference that's helped.